Hi everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Fabric Developer. We're doing this back to back, as you can see. MJ's still in the
Same
same
outfit.
outfit. Yeah. So we won't comment on your outfit this time. We'll talk about your hat. What's on your hat?
Oh yeah, this is like a dragon, right?
Yep,
Yeah, and then there's like some words that I don't understand at the moment, so I'm still gonna research what this means. Yeah,
that's right. It looks cool. It looks cool. We keep on switching hats. It kind of gets a bit confusing. Like not physical hats, but
yeah, exactly.
Fabric developer, we've got like nerdy dads, and there's a whole bunch of other things from work and life as well. But it's exciting time. Like there's so many changes, there's so many new things that's happening out there, and one of them is the new DP700 exam. And
Yeah.
so we talk about that in one of the earlier videos. And so we have DP600, which is what
That both of us
Fabric.
took, right? Yeah, we took you took DP600 as well, right?
Yeah. I did. It's probably like maybe 2 months ago, something like that. Um, so that's data analytics. Is that more that's what DP600 is
Yeah,
more?
DP600 is more like analytics,
Engineering or something
engineering.
like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
associate. Yeah,
Whereas DP700 is
it's more
more
like data engineering associate. Yeah.
data engineering. So it's closer to the DP203 from
Yes,
the
it's
Azure
closer to
world. Yeah.
correct.
So and congrats, you've done it yesterday. So this is
Yeah,
fresh.
yeah. I took the exam, but because it's beta, we don't know if I passed yet or not. So, and the score will be weighted against the first, I think, first 400 who took the exam or something like that. So, yeah. So it's not like, yeah. That's why it's hard to know if you pass or fail, right? Like because it's gonna be weighted based on
Yeah.
like the first 400. Right?
Oh wow. Yeah, that's interesting. So they're probably still waiting for other people to actually sit the exam, sit
Yeah,
the beta exam, and then you'll find out where you land in what,
yeah,
like
yeah.
a few weeks time maybe?
Hopefully, few weeks. I think hopefully 2 weeks.
Right.
But yeah, I think I took the beta exam, one of the exams as well back then. Yeah, it's been a while. Like literally, I forgot about it, and then like I received an email saying, "Oh, you didn't pass the exam." All right, yeah,
Yeah, do it again. Um, oh wow, that's really. But if you do pass, you will literally be one of like you'll be the
yeah, yeah,
first person in the world who get that like sharing a moment with others. But you are you are
yeah,
you are the first, right? So
yeah. That's why the pressure is on, right? Like I'm one of the first, but did I really pass the exam? But will I pass the exam? So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay,
So yeah, this video is about DP700. You
yeah.
are one of the first people to actually took the exam. So yeah, tell us
All
about
right.
it.
I guess like one, this is a beta exam. That means that the questions here won't be the final questions when the exam is live. Yeah, and that, again, that's the whole point of beta, right? But the structure and the question types and the topics would be mostly there already, right? um,
Yeah,
yeah, and then the second part is that the the concept of beta exam is that you know um, it's more around like what's being measured, right, with it. And I think they've done really well to kind of like separate what's a DP700 between a DP600. Because again, I told you back then, right? Like my complaint with DP600 was that it's very focused on Power BI, DAX queries, data flows, and like XMLA, and those type of things. Which again, I know them, but I don't know them by heart, right? Like I don't use them every day because I'm more like a data engineer, data architect, where I land in Fabric, right? Yeah, that's why I see DP700 is for people more like me, like coming from that Spark background, engineering, data frames, like
yeah.
the ETLs and
Yep. So
pipelines and
DP
stuff like that.
700, yes, it's more backend infrastructure, like data
Yeah,
engineering.
exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Then obviously I'm not allowed to tell the actual questions and the answers, because again that just violates the whole premise of exam, right? You
Yep.
can't do that, like, and so on and so forth. But what I would say is that in the practice, the what's being measured in the exam, it's literally that, right? Like you just need let me literally open that now.
Yep.
So in no particular order I came up with this. Like you need to understand more about the Spark settings, like concurrencies, like the idea of custom pools. Basically, you just need to understand Spark really as like what is it and what can it do, right? And like depending on different scenarios and that's presented to you, what sort of like configuration do you have to do to cater that? And that thing that comes with like an emphasis on things like V order, like what is V order and stuff like that. Um, Things around streaming. Again, there are many streaming capabilities in Fabric. There's a Spark structured streaming. There's a um, event streaming through the whole RTI real time intelligence, and then obviously somehow there's also a streaming capability within pipelines and notebooks. But I'm not gonna go to that details. And then some of the really big emphasis there is more around comparing which is which, like a pipeline, data flow, or a notebook. Like you just need to have a really good understanding when should you use what, which is really good, right? Because again, there's a debate out there right now that notebooks are bad, pipelines are great, tags are good, this and that, right? Again, there are like different scenarios in there. um, yeah, like semantic model refreshes. That's something I just do every day, but I didn't prepare for it. I have no idea that was in there, but like it was in there. And then data masking was there as well. Like how do you do row level security and so on and so forth. Then data frames again, so many data frames questions, right? I love them. Like how do you perform SED2, SED4, SED3, right?
Yeah.
Like, then how do you do upsorts? Like when not upsort, and all those
Yep.
flavors around that. That if you know Spark and PySpark and you use it every day, or at least on project, you would know which one to choose. And some of them are very explicit as well, right? Like, is it a write? Is it an update? Like is it a delete? And so on. Um, and that's why I think there's a big emphasis on just being hands-on with the KQL, Python, and SQL. Yeah, and that's just really majority. I would say probably 40% of it is revolving around being hands-on, which is I really like because it's very practical in nature.
When you
Yeah.
say hands-on, it's not like it's running in like
No,
a
no, no,
lab
it's
or
not. Yeah,
simulation mode. It's just multiple choices, right?
yeah, yeah. Or
There's
drag and
no
drops, right? Yeah, or drag and
yeah.
drops, or like
There's no
full,
new question types or
no,
anything. Yeah.
no,
Okay.
it's the same. Like it's drag and drop, right? Like
Yeah.
which like which code are you? So try to complete this code, yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, certification and endorsements. That's kind of like I didn't expect that, but it was in there. So I saw that as well. And
Mhm.
shortcuts. So finally, like there are a lot of well, not a lot, but there are questions about shortcuts and like, oh, that makes sense. Why I would use shortcuts? And, oh, that makes sense. Why I shouldn't use shortcuts? Like
Okay.
the exam is also very helpful for you to kind of like navigate. Oh yeah, it kind of makes sense. But
Yeah.
this scenario, this and that. Yeah,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
again, right? Like a majority of it just comes to this one. Let me open this link. Yeah, we've talked about this in the past, right? All
Yeah.
of this, like the one in the skills measured. Yeah,
Mhm.
everything's in here, right? Like they didn't come up with something that's a bit different.
Mhm.
Yeah, like version control, like configuring with DevOps or GitHub. Um,
Yeah.
security governance, right? Like the most important aspect I would say is that how do you make sure that a person only gets the right access that she or he needs instead of like, oh, let's just make everyone administrators, right? Like, and
Mhm.
so on and so forth. It's more around that, like, making sure that you don't over subscribe to permissions, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like pipelines,
Mhm.
ingesting. Yeah, you see, like,
Mhm.
PySpark, SQL, and KQL,
Yeah.
denormalizing. These are, again, all of these are very data engineering focused anyway, that even if you don't know Fabric, you would know this, coming from different platforms.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, again, this one, I just didn't know the semantic model refresh was there. I was a bit surprised with that one.
Mhm.
Alerts was in there as well. Um, yeah, and then quite here in this optimized one, there again, these are more around like, you have gazillions of data, now it's struggling, how can you fix that kind of like scenario? So again,
Yeah.
the clues are within the questions as well. We're in like, oh yeah, like there's a premise that they've configured it this way. Now, what's the right configuration? So yeah,
Yeah. That's
yeah.
nice.
Unfortunately, there's no standard resource at the moment, and if there will be in the future, it's probably me who's gonna be training that through the MCT, and like training program and so on and
Yeah.
so forth. Um, but yeah, there's no training resource at the moment. But I think, like again, I mean, the resource would be go to Microsoft Learn, right, and just
Mm.
understand. different concepts here and there. But
Okay.
yeah, I think yeah, like fairly the way I see it, it's probably like 70% fabric-ish, 30%. Like even if you don't know fabric, you would still get the answer.
Right.
And
Yes.
like if I know Spark, and let's say I'm coming from a different background, let's say Synapse, Databricks, Snowflake, or others, right? I think I would still have a concept or like a confidence that I would get at least 60, 70% of it, right?
Mm. Okay.
But
Yes.
someone coming from a Power BI background, you give them this exam, it's probably, that's where it's gonna be a bit tricky, right?
Yeah, yeah. This is going to be a lot of new concepts and everything, and that's one of the interesting where is heading towards. It's okay, well, you might be wearing a different hat before, but everything is now in the same workspace, meaning potentially, you can do it end to end. Like, will be less meetings, will be more efficient, better continuity, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, that's exciting. I can definitely see some of the questions. Like overlapping with DP600
Yep.
and probably lots of overlapping with DP203. So I guess
Yes.
yeah, if like if people do like look into some of the exam materials for those two exams, that might like it won't cover everything obviously, but that might cover, what do you think,
Yeah.
like 80%, 85%, 90% of the
Mm,
content? So
like for example, if you took the DP600 exam and now you're gonna take the DP700, I think you would know 60% of things already,
mm,
right?
okay.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I
because
think
I
what's
see a
just
lot of
yeah,
like reorder
yeah,
shortcuts. Yeah, there's a couple other things that you mentioned earlier as well that might be covered. Yeah. So just a disclaimer that what MJ just mentioned is based on the beta exam, like, and there's based on his memory of what some of the things he's kind of
yeah,
seen in the exam, and there's so much that he can't talk about as part of the exam rules. Um, but yeah, I think thanks for sharing that kind of
yeah,
general
absolutely. And again,
insight.
we talk about exams over and over, right? Like, why do you even care about exams? Like, oh, aren't you, you're not studying at school anymore, right? Why do you still take exams? And so, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, again, right? This is us committing to the knowledge, right? This is us committing to the know-how, and again, right? Like, it's a good measure of knowledge, and that complements with experience, with
Mhm.
challenges, opportunities, and everything across that line, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think there should be exams throughout life. Just because school and uni has ruined the reputation of exam doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. So, yeah, that's great. That's great. I think,
Yeah. So the question
oh,
is, are you gonna take the exam, Dave?
am I going to take the exam? I've got another one lined up. I've got actually two lined up this year, more on the Power Platform side. So,
The thing is, what I'm telling is that just take the exam, right? The DP700. You don't have to review because, like, again, just put your stock knowledge. There's no material to look at anyway, right? So
yeah,
yeah,
true. I might do DP203 and DP7 like and 700 in the
early
same
next year.
go. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I'll definitely consider it. Like I actually took DP203 before and I forgot to renew it. So what happens? Like, so you lose it, right? If you don't renew it.
Yeah, but the renewal is very easy, right? Like, it's not proctored anymore, right? You just take hey, just take an exam pretty much, right? And then if you fail, you can just retry again and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah, I've just
And
forgotten about it more than anything
yeah,
else. Yeah.
and I think
Mhm.
once you lapse like a very long time, that's when it really expires, and then you have to
Yeah.
sit in again on a proctored exam. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing. And
Okay.
yeah, definitely encourage people to take on exams and test the knowledge and or just studying towards fabric because that's the future.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there will be an expert exam in the future, right? Like this is still an associate exam, and I was thinking,
Yeah.
no, I mean, I'm not confident if I'm gonna pass. I mean, I'm confident that maybe I will almost pass, right? But but I'm still thinking that there's still a harder exam in the future, right? Like an expert exam for fabric, but that's probably like a few years along the lines, man.
Yeah. Well, interesting. Maybe next one. I'm sure they will come up with some other exams in the fabric area. It's just so broad.
Yeah,
But yeah, well, best of luck. Hope you pass. And yeah, I'm sure we'll
we'll
find
know
out.
in a few weeks or months time, and
Yeah.
this channel will be one of the first to know.
Awesome, awesome.
All right.
Stay tuned. If you like the content, share and subscribe and like. Yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks,
All right.
MJ.
We'll see you. Thank you. Bye.